Hey, what's going on, sports fans? And it's another episode of Chomp at the Bit. Appreciate you guys stopping by, checking it out. If you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way, you get alerted whenever I drop an episode or when I do another live stream. Did one last weekend for the Patriots Dolphins game. Definitely plan on doing one this weekend. Not sure which game. Hopefully, Patriots versus Bills, but we'll see. I'll definitely do some live stream this weekend. But like I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you're up to date with all of that. So, with the news about Damar Hamlin, the doctors came out, if you hadn't heard, and said he showed significant improvement, which is definitely a great thing to hear. I think because of that, I mean, they haven't, canceled or postponed any of the games for week 18. So with that news, I'm assuming the games are going to get played this weekend. I mean, whether they do or not, you know, I guess the league could still decide that. Although, with it being Thursday, it might be a little late to push back the games this weekend. But once again, I don't know. So I'm gonna operate on this episode like the games are being played this weekend. And by the games, I mean not the Bills Bengals game because we still don't know about that one. Right now, it's still going to be postponed. Well, no plans to resume it this week, of course. So we're going to play week 18 and then I guess decide what to do with that game. I fully believe that game just won't count. Bills and the Bengals will just play 16 games. Everybody else plays 17. You use your win percentage anyway, and then there's tiebreakers involved between the two of them. Then you go about it outside of head to head and see where everything stands at that point. That's what I think happens, but we'll see. So with that, like I said, let's go ahead, go through these games for Week 18. A lot of things still up in the air for the playoffs, depending on, I guess, on the time, on how long this episode is. Once I go through my picks, I may pull up the playoff machine on ESPN and then put my picks into there to see how the playoffs would shake out based on how I'm picking these games. So pull them up right here. There we go. And as you know, I always do against the spread. So let's go ahead and get to these games. So Chiefs, Raiders. I mean, for that game, you got to look at it as yes, the Chiefs have a lot to play for. The Raiders have their turmoil going on. Everybody's been talking about Devontae Adams, whether he'll be back since Derek Carr looks like he won't be back. The Raiders said they want Adams back. Stidham played well last week, though. And that's in the back of my mind here. Could Stidham do the same thing this week? Because, I mean, he could be auditioning for the starting job next year. Who knows? We don't know what direction the Raiders will go in. So I fully believe the Chiefs win, but I feel like the 7.5 is a trap. I could see the Chiefs winning by like 7. So because of that, I'm gonna go with the Raiders plus 7.5. But I fully expect the Chiefs to win this game. All right, the game Saturday night. That is for the AFC South. You've been hearing me for weeks on here say I fully believe the Jaguars were gonna win the South. Now they're in a position that they lead the division. The only way they can't win the division is to lose Saturday night to the Titans, who now have Joshua Dobbs running the show. So once again, I fully believe the Jacksonville Jaguars win this game. I think Peterson has that team playing really well at the end of the year. And I think they get in. Once again, 6.5. Could I see a game where it's maybe low scoring and it's closer than that because we know Tennessee's going to give a heavy dose of Derrick Henry, at least try to. Josh Dobbs, they're going to try to put him in situations where kind of limit the risk. So this is an interesting one for me. I just have a feeling I'm going to go Titans plus 6.5. I could see it being a 6-point game or 5-point. Maybe Jacksonville's up 3. Tennessee has the ball driving late to try to get a tying score, turnover or something, and Jacksonville wins. But I think I'm picking the Titans plus 6.5, but expect the Jaguars to win. All right, so Sunday we have a game that doesn't really matter in the scheme of things as the Bucks have the division wrapped up, can't move up in the standings. So, do we see Tom Brady play? Probably not. And if he does, I would doubt we see him the full game. So I think this turns into a game where Tampa Bay, knowing full well they play next week, kind of gives everybody the day off. And because of that, I mean, you can already see they have the Falcons as a 2.5 point favorite. Um, oh, see, this is tough because I know the Falcons, they're not a good team. But if the Bucks take, so many guys out, like who's their backup? Is it Kyle Trask, I believe? So do we get Kyle Trask versus Desmond Ritter? Uh, I'm gonna go Falcons -2.5. Although part of me thinks maybe the Bucks want to win this because going in at 9-8 looks a lot better than going in at 8-9. You know what? I'm gonna take the risk here. Well, actually, it's not a risk. I mean, 73% of people on ESPN are picking the Bucks as well. I feel like this is the game that the Bucks shouldn't win if they're not going to play everybody. But now I'm kind of talking myself into them probably playing their starters longer than we thought, only because, like I said, 9-8 looks a lot better than 8-9. All right, this one I gotta go here. I'm a Patriots fan. I just can't see it, especially with the Hamlin stuff. And it's in Buffalo. That place is gonna be charged up. That team's gonna be ready to go. Especially to play for Hamlin and everything. I just think that's the worst environment right now for a Patriots team fighting for the playoff lives to try to go in and win. Not saying they can't, because we've seen Belichick, work magic before. I just think, with all things considered, no, there's no way I see it happening. So, give me the Bills in this one. Fortunately, I got to pick against my Patriots, but yeah, I just think there's too many outside factors working into the game. I just don't see the Patriots winning that one. Vikings Bears. Vikings, for all intents and purposes, will be playing to potentially be the 2 seed, depending on what happens with the Niners. So they're gonna have to go at this game wanting to win, because you would love to have the 2 seed over the 3 seed. Bears, no Justin Fields. Give me the Vikings. Bears defense isn't that good. Um, Vikings defense can give up plays, but with no Justin Fields, I just think that the Vikings are just much better at that point. So give me the Vikings. Ravens Bengals. Now this is another one. What, I guess, since the Bengals experienced what happened against the Bills, what's their mindset coming into this game? I believe I talked about on here, the trolls who are out there really blaming T. Higgins for what happened. Him getting death threats, which is just disgusting. What's his mindset coming into this game? Because I'm sure he's been going through days of just being distraught and who knows what else. I mean, it is for the division. So, worst case, the Bengals win this one. They stay at 3. Which, I mean, yeah, I guess that's worst case in terms of them winning the game and then not being able to move up, because maybe they don't get to replay or resume the Bills game. But at least you're at 3. The absolute nuclear worst case is they come into this game, they're flat. Ravens pull it off, even though it looks like Lamar might not play, which I guess that's a whole other story. And they end up down 6th, or I don't know, 5th. I guess they'd probably fall to. Yeah, maybe 5th or 6th. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals here. I like the 6.5 because, like I said, I think Huntley's gonna start, and it's in Cincinnati. Hated division rival in the Ravens, who already won the first game in Baltimore. So Give me the Bengals here. And yeah, I see them winning by at least a touchdown. Meaningless game here, Texans and the Colts. I mean, who are the Colts starting on? Is it still Nick Foles? Texans, I think it's still Davis Mills. Well, I mean, the Texans definitely don't want to win this game. Don't want to risk losing the number one pick. Give me the Colts. Why not? If I get this one wrong, I get it wrong. Don't really need a lot of analysis there because it doesn't matter. Dolphins Jets. This one matters to the Dolphins because, as I predicted earlier, if the Patriots do lose, opens the door for the Dolphins. No Tua here. Apparently, the Dolphins have told Tua that you're kind of staying home, which I guess is the right thing to do, which they eventually did right by Tua by, stating that. Jets, I mean, they completely bottomed out after looking so promising most of the year until the last few weeks. I mean, I guess the only thing would be, do the Jets get up for this game just to stick it to the Dolphins? We know how these AFC East teams are against each other. Well, none of them like each other, which is, I mean, how it should be for a divisional game. With the Dolphins, it looks like it's going to be Skylar Thompson, who wasn't bad against New England, which I did say during the live stream. I thought Skylar Thompson looked pretty good considering everything. I think the Dolphins find a way to get it done. I mean, that Jets defense is tough. It is. Who's their starting quarterback? Is it Zach Wilson or Mike White? I can't remember. I think it might be Zach Wilson. So yeah, give me the Dolphins. If it's Zach Wilson, I don't see the Jets. No, give me the Dolphins. Panthers, Saints. This game doesn't matter either. I mean, for the Panthers, they're talking to Jim Harbaugh, apparently, for their head coaching position. So, hey, Steve Wilkes, thanks for keeping us in the race up until last week. I mean, they are 6-10. If they go drop this one, they're 6-11. I guess should Wilkes really keep his job after that? I actually think, I mean, for everything he dealt with, I still think they should give him the job. But if they can get Harbaugh, then obviously they would go after Harbaugh. It's whether or not Harbaugh actually wants that job or if he's just listening to the offer just to keep his options open. I'll go with the Saints. I feel like looking at them on paper, Saints are a more talented team. I do wonder about their coaching situation, and then from the outside looking in, how attractive is that Saints job with, I guess, no assurances about Kamara, who's probably the best player on that offense. He's been around the league for a little bit now, and with running backs, you just don't know how well they're going to age. But move on to the next game. Steelers-Browns, this game. Mike Tomlin's over 500 streak is on the line. Well, 500 or better streak is on the line. So unless they tie, I mean, that's a one way for him to keep the streak alive. But it's going to be either win, go to 9-8, streak alive, lose, go to 8-9, streak gets ended. A lot of people look at this and say the Browns probably won't go full tilt because they don't have anything to play for, but I would say you got to treat these games like playoff games because you want to get that rust off of Deshaun Watson. So yes, winning this game doesn't get you into the playoffs or anything, but at least it gets you further down the line for next season, that hopefully Deshaun Watson's starting off from a better position than he would, let's say, if he had missed all this year. So this is just another opportunity for him to get out there, get used to the wide receivers, get used to, Chubb and Hunt. The offensive line become more comfortable with him, understanding his tendencies and when he, whatever. So for that, it's important for Cleveland. But for playoffs, it's really important for the Steelers. because the Steelers would have to win this one, obviously, to keep their dreams alive. I'm gonna go with the Steelers because I've said before as well. I just feel like Tomlin finds a way, especially with Kenny Pickett, to get this win, keep the streak alive. Whether they make the playoffs or not, the Steelers can look at this season and say, dealt with a lot. We're kind of buried early, but fought back and got to 9 wins. Some years that gets you in, some years it just doesn't work out for you, the math. So they got a lot to play for, and especially for Kenny Pickett for this year, hey, it's been a good year. Broncos, Chargers. I mean, for the Chargers, this is more about keeping the 5 seed because you want to face the AFC South champion in the wild card round as opposed to possibly facing the Bengals or the Chiefs or even the Bills in the first round. So Chargers, so Steelers minus 3.5. Okay. Actually, let me go back real quick because this 3.5 is interesting. Because we know with these AFC North games, you just never know. I can see it being a field goal game. Give me the Browns plus 3.5. I'm glad I thought about that. Chargers, Broncos, give me the Chargers. Like I said, a lot to play for here still. Get to 11 wins. I guess save Staley's job, although I still question how good of a coach he really is. But it's kind of hard to fire a guy if you get to 11 wins, make the playoffs. I guess unless if they get blown out in wild card round, maybe. But yeah. Broncos, it's looking towards next year. New coach, who we'll have to see who they hire. But, yeah, they're just playing out the string. Giants, Eagles. So I guess by this point, 425. Well, no, because the Steelers play at the same time. I mean, not Steelers. The Niners play at the same time. I was thinking about the Vikings. They'll know the Vikings. So, yeah. So they'll know if the Vikings will get their 13th win or not. And then whatever. But with the Niners still being involved, then yeah, the Eagles kind of have to go at this to keep their number 1 seed. The Giants, look up the board, Giants. Yeah, the Giants can't move anywhere. So for the Giants, this game means absolutely nothing because they're locked in as a 6 seed. Eagles still fighting for the 1 seed, 13.5. I mean, I'm always scared about 7.5, 10, 13.5, really. Because in order for the Eagles to cover, you're looking at 14, 2 touchdowns. Are they 2 touchdowns better than the Giants? If the Eagles are up big late, do they sit people? Could the Giants backdoor cover? Down 21, get like a late score. Or down like 20, late score, get it to 13. Give the Giants in the 13.5. I just don't like that spread. Cardinals, Niners, kind of the same thing here. Although the Cardinals aren't as good, they're not a good team right now. Give the Niners. I'll probably regret taking them 13.5, but just give me the Niners. Especially that defense. I mean, that defense, I feel like could shut down the Cardinals. Then Purdy in the offense. I mean, could we see like a 23, 6 game, 23-7 type of score? Maybe. So yeah, give me the Niners minus the 13.5. Seahawks and the Rams. Now the whole NFC 7 seed equation is nuts because currently Seattle is in the 7th spot. So you would think, okay, so Seattle wins, they're in. No. Seattle has to win, and then Green Bay has to lose in order for Seattle to get in, even though Green Bay is in 9th. Because Seattle wins, Green Bay jumps up from 9 to 7 because of the conference tiebreaker. The Lions, who are in between the both of them, feel like they control their destiny almost the least. Well, actually, somewhat, because the Lions would have to beat Green Bay, of course, but they would need the Seahawks to lose to a Rams team that stinks. Baker Mayfield, I guess, is playing for starting job opportunity next year. It's in Seattle. Seattle knows that that they have to win this game to at least be part of the equation going forward. Give me the Seahawks. 6.5. Yeah, I'll take. I'll take. Yeah, I'll take the 6.5. Once again, it's another one I could get burned on, but give me Seattle 6.5. I think Kenneth Walker's questionable. That would be a big factor in all this because Kenneth Walker's been dynamite for Seattle. And if he's not there, I feel like that takes away a good piece of the offense. And maybe it keeps the score closer because of that. But I'm fully expecting Walker to play because this is all hands on deck right now. I mean, if you're able to, you got to play in this one because you need to win to try to get in. Cowboys Commanders, this game doesn't mean anything either way. Cowboys are locked in as the 5. They can't move up. I don't think. Actually, can they? No, I think the Eagles already won the division. So yeah, for the Cowboys, this doesn't mean anything. Commanders are out. Ron Rivera, they're starting Sam Howell. Give me the Cowboys. Yeah, Ron Rivera looks like he's probably on his way out in Washington. Not really sure how I should feel about that, but um, yeah. Then the final game, Sunday night, Packers Lions, which I feel like it's been talked about a lot because this game probably should have been played at the same time as the Seahawks game to make it kind of fair for everybody. Because there's a chance that coming into this game, with the Seahawks winning, the Lions would know that they're eliminated, and then you're going to tell them to play a game against the Packers that the Packers need. So the fear of the Lions laying down for them, I kind of don't see it because I think Dan Campbell, tell their guys like, hey, we could finish 9-8 over 500 and build off of that because it's all about building into next season. Green Bay's playing better right now, which is why they find themselves in this position. Although some teams ahead of them, like Washington, completely collapsing down the stretch, really helped out. But I know a lot of people are actually this one's closer because on ESPN it looks like 51% Green Bay, 49% Lions. To be honest, I thought that percentage was going to be swayed more into the Packers' favor, but I'm gonna go Lions. Give me the Lions here. One, kind of because I wrote off Green Bay weeks ago, so I'm gonna ride that out to the very end here. I do want the Lions to get the win for kind of validation to the job that Campbell's done with them this year. Great job. Goff looks like a starting quarterback now. Remember with the Rams when he left, a lot of people were like, this guy may not be it. Had a good year in Detroit. And I believe with his contract status, he's a free agent this offseason, I think. If not, hopefully Detroit can kind of lock him up for the next couple of years because I think he kind of fits there with this team. But got to do the tiebreaker just for fun. How many total points we scored Bucks Falcons? Oh my god, they picked the worst game to predict. Jeez. I could see. Actually, who did I pick? Did I pick the Falcons in that one? And I went back and forth. Okay, I took the Bucks plus 2.5. I don't know. Give me 20, 16, so give me 36 points. And there you are. Those are my picks for Week 18. So let's see. So yeah, so you guys can let me know what you think about that. Let me see if I could pull up the playoff machine, work through that really quickly, because once again, I don't really have to analyze the games anymore because I've already done that. But let's see where everything would shake out. Okay, I got it up here. Let's take a look at it real quick. All right, there we go. So, like I said, I have Kansas City, Jacksonville, and now the playoff machine's acting weird. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, I pick Buffalo. I got the Vikings, Bengals, Colts, Dolphins, Saints. I had the Steelers with the Browns covering. I got the Eagles, Cowboys, Chargers, Niners, Seahawks, and the Lions. So my playoff picture would look like this. I would have Kansas City as the 1 seed. Your 2-7 matchup would be Bills Dolphins. Interesting, because Dolphins, you probably expect Tua back for the playoff game. Got Bengals Ravens for a third time in the 3-6 matchup. I mean, hey, I'm here for it. Your 4-5 matchup, you get Jacksonville and the Chargers. So you're looking at Lawrence versus Herbert. Said this for a couple of weeks. I think the NFL would definitely love to see that matchup. Both guys are compared to each other, so why not get to see it on the field? The NFC got the Eagles at 1 with the bye. 2-7 matchup. NFC West for the third time. Niners, Seahawks. Remember that rivalry used to be, really good when Russell Wilson was in Seattle. The Richard Sherman, Legion of Boom going up against those Niners teams. Seemed like they had really good battles. Crabtree and those guys. Giants, Vikings. That's kind of going back to the 90s, back in the day, or maybe it's 2000s. But yeah, that's kind of like an older. I mean, not like it's like 40 years ago, but I think it might have been late 90s, like early 2000s. Seemed like these two teams met a lot in the playoffs. But Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley. Interesting there. Cowboys, Bucks feel like destined for that to happen. Tom Brady going up against the star. So that's how my playoffs would shake out based off of how I feel the games will go this week. And I believe with this, probably would. Well, I guess if you resume the game and Buffalo were to win it, I think Buffalo would then get the number 1 seed. They took week 17 off, so I can't go back there. But I think if they replayed it, Buffalo wins. I think Buffalo would then become the 1 seed. So now there could be a reason to play it. Bengals would be here. I guess if the Bengals beat Buffalo, then the Bengals would move to 2, Buffalo would go to 3. So we'd have to see what the league would do if we got to this situation. But yeah, so that's how I have the playoffs shaken out based off of my picks for this week. You can definitely let me know if you agree or not. I'll just leave it up there to see that. But yeah, so like I said, with the update on Hamlin, considerable improvement. Always great to hear. Just if the doctor said, "Oh, we saw some improvement," you'd be like, "Okay." But they said, I can't remember the term. Did they say substantial or whatever? It's just that much more of an improvement in his condition, which is great. So, like I said, I'm assuming these games play this weekend, and if they do, this is how I have it shaken out. Let me know if you agree or not. Yes, fellow Patriots fans, I do have the Patriots missing it, but I just think playing the Bills with all this that's going on, I just don't see it happening for them. Maybe on a normal week, I probably would have given the Patriots a chance, but nah, with all that emotion, I can't see it. So, just to remind you guys before I get out of here, you can find me on Sports Empire Network, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikiLive.com. I will be on there tonight for pre-gaming Pigskin, Thursday nights, 7 p.m. you normally get you ready for Thursday night football. There is no Thursday night football this week, so we'll just be looking at the games for Sunday, of course. And you get to see how, see how I think the playoffs will shake out. You get to hear from Godfrey and Gene over there what they think. Then Fridays, JJL Sports Talk Show, YouTube and Facebook, live around 8ish. You know, kind of wing it, but definitely a great show either way. And as you've seen on the bottom this whole time, those are my socials. So make sure you go find me those places, especially Twitch, because if you know, maybe if you're over there, you may see a notification I'm going live because I do the live streams. They are on YouTube, Twitch. I believe I go live on TikTok, not TikTok. I keep saying TikTok, Twitter as well. So yeah, just look them all up and subscribe or follow. But yeah, 2023 is off to a great start. I feel like the channel's doing well so far, and I think it's just going to get much better from here. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Try to make sure I don't miss anything. But yeah, so enjoy the games this weekend. Hopefully your team makes it to the playoffs if they're not in already, and if your team is secure in the playoffs, hopefully you get a favorable matchup. If you're a Patriots fan like me, hey, if this works out the way I have it, we got next year. But thanks, appreciate it. Be safe out there. God bless, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And keep getting better, Damar Hamlin. All right, guys, have a good one.